Alright, howdy folks, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Broken Arrow. I've made a few videos on this demo already, but I wanted to make a video that was a little bit more structured, and I figured this was honestly the perfect week to do so. The developers have just made the demo public again, which you can now play till the 20th of March, and I'd 100% recommend checking it out if you haven't done so already. You can find a link to the store page where you can download the demo, as well as a link to my Broken Arrow playlist for more videos on the game, both in the description. But besides just letting you know that the demo is available again, I mostly wanted to talk about the developers' future plans, their response to the public's reaction to the demo, and actually also point out some things that I learned, but I wasn't able to put into a video just yet. Now, some of these things might come in handy just for this specific round of the demo being up, mostly talking about optimization, whilst others will most likely be useful, perhaps even in the full release of the game. So first up, let's talk about the developers' thoughts. They are aware of the performance issues that popped up during the demo, something I myself also dealt with and mentioned in my previous videos. However, they hope that players understand that it is a very early build of the game, and that making the game run a lot better and working on general optimization are two of their major concerns. Something I did not have any issues with myself, but seemingly lots of other players, was a tendency for the game to crash, and this is obviously something they're going to be working on, but it has to be somewhat expected of a game that hasn't even entered the beta phase yet. Now, in this demo, you are locked to a certain set of units, something the developers do want to change down the line. Whether this means that all missions will allow you to bring a partially customized army, or if this is only going to be available for certain missions, isn't known at this moment. The devs also said that there were definitely some specific key units missing in the demo, and there are still quite a few units that are actively being worked on, which is understandable as the game is probably quite a while from being released. After reviewing the community's feedback about the mission, the developers found three major problems with this mission and why it was perceived as being quite difficult. The first one is honestly a little shocking to me, but allegedly quite a few players couldn't find or didn't realize there was a reinforcement menu to call in more units. And obviously playing this mission with just the starting units would be quite a tough task. Also, resupplying of units wasn't well explained, which meant that you'd have to figure that out by yourself. Without understanding how to repair vehicles or even resupply infantry squads, this mission obviously became a lot harder. The devs want to eventually gradually introduce game mechanics via tutorials or missions, but this was just a demo and it didn't have those explanations built in yet. The demo also came without a difficulty setting, something the full game will have, which will probably buff or nerf player or enemy units depending on the difficulty level selected. Apparently, some feedback the developers received was also about the need for a lot of microtasking at times during this demo mission. Something I really didn't have a huge issue with until after the amphibious part, they suddenly hand you a platoon of Abrams tanks and probably like 2 to 3 companies worth of Marines, supporting units, mortars, anti-air vehicles, and yeah, it got kind of crazy there. A feature the developers would like to introduce is an automatic option for vehicles to deploy countermeasures. Especially useful if you're in a large air-to-air fight with multiple air superiority fighters, you can't really directly manage every fighter's countermeasures. Hopefully this will take a little bit of microwing away from the player if you decide to turn that option on. A huge quality of life upgrade I am excited for is the addition of a line of sight or LOS tool. This made a huge difference going from Wargame to Warno, or even from Steel Division 1 to Steel Division 2, where actually Steel Division 2 took verticality into the calculation as well. Now, besides the LOS, this tool should also include weapon ranges, giving you a quick overview of what a unit can see and at what ranges it can engage at with certain weapon systems. For people in the comments of my videos specifically, this next bit is great news, where the developers say they want to greatly increase the amount of destructible objects on the map, hopefully allowing us to, for example, burn a path through forests, much like as in World in Conflict. A comment I also saw in one of my videos stated that they liked the voice acting, but thought it was just way too repetitive, and the developers do plan to fix or adjust this by increasing the delay in voice commands to hopefully avoid it sounding spammy as it does right now. Finally, the developers will publish a multiplayer beta sometime this spring, which will allow people to give a ton of feedback regarding the PvP gameplay and balancing. Now, there are a few things I learned after I'd already made a bunch of videos on the demo that I didn't think warranted their own whole video, but now I have a few of them together and I had a good reason to make this video in the first place. I figured I'd throw them in here at the end for you to hopefully have some use out of. First up is the graphics settings. Now, personally, I would say that you definitely want to select the lowest possible setting for the post-processing in the settings menu. I noticed a huge increase in frames on my computer, though your mileage may vary, of course. As the developer said, the game just isn't optimized yet, which is noticeable, but to get some extra frames in a demo is never a bad thing. Something I realized later on was that you can call in multiple infantry units inside of the same vehicle, allowing you to call in more units quicker and cheaper. Granted, this has a downside of putting you at risk of losing more units if the transport gets destroyed. Especially when you are defending the fortress against incoming enemies, it could be cheaper to put 200 points worth of infantry in a single helicopter, but also riskier in case it gets shot down. Now, this is a risk assessment you'll have to make yourself based on the situation at hand. You can actually also resupply the cruise missiles aboard the destroyer off the coast, according to a comment under one of my videos, so massive shout out to you. You just need to land a helicopter on it and it will get more missiles to be used against enemy forces, which is a very neat find. So with a little bit of hopefully new or useful things from my end, as well as the thoughts of the developers on their demo and how it was received by you, we've come to the end of this video. I look forward to checking out the multiplayer beta for Broken Arrow soon, and I wish you a lot of luck in beating the mission in the demo if you haven't already done so. It is a tough one. For now, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you in the next one.